The constraints are good because then you can be creative like within that box.
That's right.
And I actually do that with my drums too. I specifically only have one crash cymbal.
Mm-hmm.
I only use a high tom and a low tom, no extra toms, because I'm interested in creating the creative constraint.
Right.
And you can drum better with the instruments that you have. Because honestly, you're not a better drummer just because you got a second snare drum.
So you're not as good as like Neil Peart, one of these fucking dudes that have like.
He did pass recently, and there was a lot of stuff online about how large his drum set was. He had the 360 drums, the acoustic in the front, the electric drums in the back.
Do you think his brain was like that though? Like he could literally get like the note. I mean, like that's just a crazy amount of.
I think his brain was definitely like that because he also was. I also saw articles about how he had pulled Rush lyrics from Ayn Rand books.
Interesting.
He took, I don't know if it took stuff from the Fountainhead or what, but they have like Rush lyrics that are using Ayn Rand.
That's wild.
In their writing. So he definitely was pulling from different sources. And he's a drummer, and he did that in the 80s. So that was even his younger life. Imagine what he's ascended to or, branched out toward now at this point.
Right.
But no, I like the creative constraints. This got brought up because we were talking about if I had wanted to shoot something serial, as opposed to this podcast.
Right.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. Thanks for joining us tonight. We're going to be talking about purely what the next thing we make will be.
Just ditching the cast. Even though the last one was the 15th anniversary, and we had all these big grand plans.
Already over. The 17th is next.
Yeah,
that's when we're going to celebrate the 17th anniversary.
17th anniversary.
The next one.
And that'll be the last one because then we're going to do bigger and better things than this.
To this serial show. Here's what I was thinking. If I wanted to make like a serial web show now, I think it's hard to play with the amount of time. Like, serious dramas are like 40 minutes.
Right.
They're an hour. They're within that range. Mini movies, if you're going for something super long form, in the vein of Sopranos or Mad Men, The Wire, what have you.
Yeah.
But there's all sorts of shows now that are specifically made for the web that are like 7 minutes long. So you could try to craft a story, have it be super short. I personally don't feel very bound to time now. I mean, I upload these things that are over an hour. Yeah. So I feel like you can upload whatever. I know logistically it's difficult how big the file sizes are, the number of different clips in that, the project size, like just how logistically difficult it is to create a long project.
Yeah.
But it definitely doesn't intimidate me. Like I would try to do something long.
Yeah, it would be a lot of work though. You know what I mean? Especially to have like a high quality. Especially like doing a 45-minute show. That's a lot of content you're doing.
And if you're doing jump cuts and all these splits every like 5 seconds, that's different versus having like a 4-minute scene after a 3-minute scene of someone talking, after another 3-minute scene of 3 other people talking.
But then having a cohesive story, then you have to have a shooting schedule.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
In terms of that execution.
The 5-minute story, those are, I don't want to say those are easy, but 5 minutes, it's like, there's not much story you're telling in 5 minutes, right?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, what is your take on the shorter web series format?
I like that. I think that there's definitely like, you could have a fun thing with that, right? And do like every couple of days release, multiply. Okay, so you just...
It's not as intimidating.
Right. But you could do like a lot of content at once for it and then kind of put it out piecemeal, right? Like you could do 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. Whereas like I think for the 45-minute show, you'd be doing like 4 or 5 days worth of work to then edit it down to 45 minutes. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, definitely.
So it'd be just two different...
That's kind of why I was talking about the number of files and the logistics behind how much space you need on SD cards and all sorts of stuff. These phones, actually before we started, we record these on our iPhones.
Yes.
We had to check your phone to make sure you had enough space.
How many gigs on my phone,
Which you were totally fine. It was just being overly considerate. But
there's a show called Kill Tony, which is a live podcast from the Comedy Store.
Yeah,
and
Tony
I think
Hinchcliffe, right?
Red Band, he's a podcast guy. He showed all the cards for just one episode of all of like the 7 gig. You know what I mean? All these cards that he had because of all the different camera angles.
Right.
And I was like, holy crap, and I thought about us and all that, but like just the amount of data and space you need for things now.
Oh, it's insane.
It's incredible.
Yeah, I got my first multi-terabyte hard drive months before starting this, so this is all strategically planned out.
You had to.
Got the 5-terabyte hard drive now, so you can have a library in your pocket, basically.
Right.
And not have a million cards like Red Band was doing. From the sound of it.
But he had multiple cameras, so it's data and then there's backups for backups. Everything had a backup in case. Right?
Well, fuck, I'll put 3 cameras on. Our mugs talking. So imagine how many I'd put on an actual series.
Like an actual series, right? Like so, that's what I'm getting at. Like so. A lot of it would be like planning, the logistics of not which version, because you could do anything you wanted, right? But, those 2 different camps, right?
No, it'd be important to think about. And then back to time. I just want to make sure we're fleshing that out.
How would you,
I think it's way less intimidating to click on something short. I find that I really won't start new stuff. I won't start new serious series that are long. It really takes a lot to get me to get in there. And even clicking on videos online too and scrolling, if I see if there's like 2 minutes left in a video, I might stay there for 2 minutes. But if there's like 20 minutes or if there's an hour and 20 minutes,
that's a long time to commit to.
That is a new lifestyle. If you watch a video that's an hour long, you are adopting to a lifestyle.
Right.
People who listen to this included.
I think too, if you're making it for YouTube or a YouTube style, it is more bite-sized, right?
Yeah.
Not putting it on, a 45-minute YouTube show. It's
a scroll friendly format. It used to be harder at least to switch channels.
Yeah.
You'd have to find the remote at least. Now it's part of the experience.
Run up
you
the
touch
TV
the
and
thing
flick the clicker, like the clicker.
Right.
Not anymore.
Clicker. That's regional. We use clicker.
We
it's
do?
like a Chicago or Midwest thing.
Makes sense.
Pass me the clicker.
Clicker and then remote.
Who's seen the clicker?
Pass me the clicker for the boob tube.
The remote. What were you gesturing
I was grabbing from the remote. It's like the Al Bundy.
Okay. You're reaching into your pants. I'm like, did you stuff your pants with the remote or something?
Just pull out a remote. Is there a remote in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
Is that a universal remote in your pants, or?
We actually were just gonna get our universal remote today because we keep losing our
really?
For our new TV.
I struck a chord.
Yeah, our new TV is we have one remote and it's a slender thing and it just disappears. Damn. 2 kids and they run around with the remote. And it controls everything. So without the remote, you can do nothing for the giant.
You might have
TV.
been singing the praises of this thing last time you were here.
Oh, I love it, but I just need a secondary remote to make sure I can use it.
You should just tie one from the ceiling by like a string, something the kids can't reach. You can just.
No, we were actually talking about setting it up on my phone because I could just set it up on my phone for the remote. But I still haven't done that because I don't need that to talk to each other.
No, you should come in for the podcast at stages. Next time you can set it up, talk about the setup.
Hey,
next time you can tear it down.
We've destroyed it because it's a terrible, this up curve and then it just slams down.
If you're time. A web series. Have you liked any shorter web series? Do you have a favorite?
No.
The one that's comes to mind for me, it's like 3 to 5 minute episodes. Next Time on Lonnie.
Oh, really?
Check it out if you haven't seen it. My God. No, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Nacho Punch, I think, is the company that makes it.
Okay.
I can't remember how they host it now. It's switched, of course. It was bought by Yahoo at some point or something. I don't really fucking know. That might have been something else too. Next Time on Lonnie was amazing. And it was sort of like parody of reality shows. But it mixed all these other insane types of storytelling and scenes in as well. They were inventive. They had a story where they had a choose your own ending.
Okay.
This is pre Bandersnatch.
Nice.
Netflix. By the way. So before Black Mirror stole that idea, they were doing this on YouTube, which I love the fact that you can play around, jump from video to video.
Right.
With clicks.
Right.
Talk about the new clicker. Talk about new things you can do by swiping.
Oh yeah. This
you can show people the 2 most relevant episodes of what you have to offer after they just watched some other episode.
So you'd be like, would you like to go this path or this path?
Yeah.
And then click and then that
Even
path.
if they weren't originally meant to be related,
Mm-hmm.
you can now intertwine all these things.
Interesting. That's cool.
So you've never actually watched a short web series that you really appreciated, that you really had
I feel like I used to. I have seen stuff, but nothing is coming to the top of my head.
Did you watch High Maintenance? That was another big one that was on HBO. Started as a web series. That one was good.
Broad City.
Oh yeah, that
Broad
counts.
City. There you
100%.
go.
Broad City.
Not really a show, but I used to like Billy Eichner, Billy on the Street.
Oh, okay.
They used to do mini episodes of that too.
Just as easily could be on YouTube.
Yeah. There's another one though that I'll never get it.
That's fine. That's fine. I saw something about algorithms and how it was comparing short things versus long things, and how viewing studies show that people actually like long things more. But I think it ends up just being an effort justification thing.
Sure,
because you've invested more time.
This, of course, is better because I've spent 10 hours watching this versus this just popcorn thing.
Yeah, this 8-second video that you totally forget about, even though you watch 1 million 8-second videos.
But there's just too much,
They don't hold.
Yeah, but you're not getting the depth, too. People like depth, when you explore, like The Irishman, right? That's 3 hours. You're really investing yourself in these characters and seeing their motivations and, really getting in there, right? 5-minute video, you might not necessarily relate to anybody in that time.
So let me see if I'm hearing you correctly, because I think you're sending me a message loud and clear. Whatever I work on should be as long as The Irishman on Netflix.
I think that's the new standard now. Every person should make 3-hour movies.
How great would it be though if, as an artist, I just chose after each piece I'm gonna do something that's 1 minute longer than Martin Scorsese. I'm gonna just take the depth that he took, and I'm gonna dig deeper.
Okay.
I'm just gonna go 1 inch, 1 minute lower.
Let's take, like, could you imagine we actually shoot a 3 hour? Like, how much footage do you need to create 3 hours of good content?
I mean, I notoriously only take one take for everything. So me, it would be the exact amount of time.
One take, so it would be 3.5 hours exactly.
Yeah, I would need exactly that much.
That would be a funny experiment too, though. Like, do like a couple of rehearsals and then we're doing this movie in one take. So just that's the take. So just next.
In talking about creative parameters, actually, one of the things I do want to do, and I want to keep this up because my next thing is going to be to record. I already recorded my first one, but I'm going to release jams.
Okay.
Like just playing music with people. And I'm going to even record like jams and then record like maybe a podcast after and have them be companion pieces, talk about ways in which you can like connect things that maybe can be related, maybe they're not related.
Yeah.
Right. But like you can click on the conversation video after the jam and like vice versa for the conversation.
Funny, I just listened to Cinco by Jim Gaffigan. It's a comedy album, and then the CD one
I haven't
is
heard
Cinco.
that one of his. I like Jim Gaffigan.
He's great.
Obviously.
The second companion piece though was him and his wife doing commentary on all of the tracks.
Hell yeah.
So that was super fun. It's exactly that, right? Like, go a little, like, and then they talk about why they chose the things and like, the thought process behind a couple of them, and it was really cool. Like, it was so nerdy.
What? No, I'm not surprised we're having this conversation again because we just said we watch audio commentaries.
Right.
We watch directors' commentaries.
Yep.
So like we're
man.
those type of people.
Yeah, totally.
That's like a different layer. We want to go deep.
I want to know. I want to know the thing. I want to see the magic. You see it's magic, but how do the magic get made? I just watched a VFX video today about Star Wars, like how they did all the Star Wars effects, because it's like, yeah, it's cool. I could just see the magic, but I really want to know how they did, the Leia reshoots, all that stuff, which was really interesting, fascinating.
You cared at that level.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's fascinating. Absolutely. Even though I'm assuming you haven't had any sort of visual effects interest prior, right? There was no other.
No, I don't have any experience in that field, right? I don't have any. I've never made a VFX.
And you haven't looked
visual
up
effects
like for other movies. It's not like you were into Jurassic Park, VFX.
No, that's not true. I've pretty familiar with a lot of that stuff. Okay,
so this might be a whole other thing you're interested in.
Yeah,
also.
I am definitely.
We talked about you as a creator.
Scenes,
yeah.
Yes,
okay. No, that
I did tech
in.
theater. I like that kind of behind the scenes creation.
I was just trying to see like how much just Star Wars itself could pull you to something you were uninterested in.
Totally, absolutely. Well, but
that's in line with your interest,
right? It's two interests, right?
Yeah, it lines up nicely. The Venn diagram, that's the shaded area in the middle.
I'll tell you what, like the fashion costume design, that would be something that I would look at for Star Wars, but not something else. But because it would be a Star Wars, I'd check out the fashion, how they decided that.
Speaking of fashion costume design, what do you think of
beautiful.
my fashion?
Yeah, very fashion forward.
choice.
Fashion forward there. Little pattern.
I was waiting for you to bring up fashion so I could
hit it up.
I could ask your opinion.
Very nice. Yeah, I didn't even see that segue, but like, yeah, look at they're clothed now.
Sorry, everyone listening. Yeah, we got some clothes for these
naked
boom
mics. Yeah, boom arms. I mean,
don't want the naked mics.
No, they're not going to be so cold in here,
Actually, I didn't think about that, but that makes sense. It is kind of pleasant to touch now versus the cold steel.
The steel just like,
Anyone curious? It's registering 50 flat in
50
here.
flat,
Chicago, early February.
James with no jacket, trying to,
I'm wearing a Heat Tech shirt for anyone watching. I'm not going to lie. I'm not trying to act like I...
He is a burly man.
Oh shit! I just realized that I have my blanket on my chair too.
Oh.
So I got some cushion. I got some heat
a
from
little
this
bit of
thing.
black. Yeah, like not too bad.
Put on the lap next time.
Weather's not so bad.
Back to the web series.
Yeah.
The length, the effort justification, feeling like The Sopranos was good just because it was long, maybe.
I don't know, man. Again,
that's not true. I love The Sopranos.
No, sure. Characters, man. You got to be interested in characters. You got to like.
And they need time to develop. The thing I'm worried about creating something short is that if we're trying to make a point or we're trying to convey something, that you would have to hit people over the head with it more often, as opposed to being more metaphorical or slowly making a point with a series of actions, that you would just have to show all of it in one action, in a quick action.
Yeah.
And that you couldn't be as subtle with your storytelling. Just that it would be like kind of like you're just.
I disagree because
filling
I think
a formula. If it's that short,
I think though if you're planning it and you know it's that short, you could really tell a story over like 10 5-minute episodes, right? That's still 50 minutes. So if you know like what the story beats are, and it's a serial, right? So you got to end it on a little bit of a cliffhanger to the next part. Somebody opens it. You know what I mean?
It doesn't have to have a cliffhanger though. I feel like if each episode has its own self-sustaining arc. If you can wrap something up, if you can come up with some conflict and resolve it in a single episode,
sure,
and have the larger season-based arc going at the same time, I think that's preferable. Versus what I think the cliffhanger model can be, which is where people have the story arc for the whole season, but then they kind of just attach everything with cliffhangers in between. They don't actually maybe have a full arc dedicated each episode. I would love to develop that. That's the thing, like, I want to get better at, is like forming a narrative, a mini arc, that's working along with the bigger arc in the season.
What about a sitcom length show? 20, 22 minutes. That's, you know what I mean? Like, I think we're like 2-4, but then what about the sitcom length?
Yeah,
you
and
do
on that,
22 minutes.
While listening to a director's commentary, let me tell you that I heard the Simpsons writers talking about when they would cut the episodes to have more commercials as the show got older. Like in the late 90s, 2000s, they started airing more commercials. And sitcom length went from like almost 24 minutes down to like 21 minutes. Like they shaved 2 to 3 minutes off each episode over time. And they were talking about how it was getting really hard actually to shave those 23-minute episodes down to 21 because you need to keep certain storyline elements in there just to keep the story making sense. And so you end up cutting all like the good jokes. Like all the icing on the cake is what gets shaved off when you're trying to squeeze the
because
cake.
The narrative is more important.
Through something it wasn't intended for. Right.
Interesting.
So it's about developing narrative. Yeah. I wouldn't say I necessarily know how to do that well. I care for it, and I think it's involved in every job, and life is all about narratives, right?
Sure, absolutely.
So I think it's a valuable skill, but I don't think it's easy, especially cramming it in 5 minutes. That's what I'm worried about.
You gotta practice it. You gotta practice. I'm familiar with comic books. We've talked. That's my world,
so bring
right?
this perspective, yeah.
Right. So those
kind
are
of
short little
not
narrative
a bridge,
arcs.
But...
Yeah. I'm reading a series now, and it's by one of my favorite writers, and there's an overarching arc to everything, but he writes these issues that like clearly have a defined ending, and it's like, okay, it ends, and then the next ends, and it's so satisfying to have those little slices like you're talking about, but it's a comic book, so it's not like super long. You're not reading it for 45, you read the whole thing, 6 issues in like, an hour, 45 minutes shorter, but each issue, it's like a 10-minute issue, right? 10-minute little...
I don't know. No, you're educating me. Like 10 minutes per issue. That seems right.
Maybe like 10, 15, 20, depending.
A savvy comic book reader,
right? Like you're just kind of
good at finding the bubbles,
right? There is though now. It used to be a lot more basic, and now the way people are visually, you have like these splash pages, and it's you have to kind of follow, and then you're like, oh wait, that's actually half, and then that's a different. It's very interesting. It pains
me to feel this old and say this, but I've read some tricky comics.
Yeah,
that were getting fancy.
Yeah. Oh man, there's
not the 4-panel, not like really obvious old school ones.
Neil Gaiman wrote the Sandman one, where it like takes you through one page and it's a maze, and then he writes, so you're literally turning the comic over, and then you like flip it, and I'm like, what the shit am I doing right now? And
I've done that for like yearbook entries, or right? Like, you like having to like make the person turn the card.
But when it combines with the art and the images are shifting with the text,
that's
because
great.
He's going through the dream, and then you turn the page over, and then it starts, and then you like, it's incredible. Again, pushing narrative boundaries.
Yeah.
Pushing narrative boundaries in that format, though.
I would love to be a part of any pushing that could happen. Because, video is still very much a new medium.
Totally.
Well, it hasn't been around that long.
And we're on the cutting edge of this new form where anybody can do things, right? So if you just find the right thing and it hits and people are like, that's really cool, that's all it takes, right? You just need a foot in the door, right? And
the foot in the door is everyone's iPhone. Everyone's already got the foot in the door because you got the gear.
Exactly.
You can
level
record it
field.
and you can watch it in high quality.
Yep. Like, come on. This is like, we're just in this room, and the quality of the JSG Studios is just like,
it's a beautiful thing.
You're just one person. You know what I mean? Could you imagine this like 10 years ago? Somebody having this like, whoa.
I can imagine it because I feel like in some ways I was that person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've always had a goal. I used to conceptualize it as like having a music room. Because, when you're younger, you play music. That's like your outlet. It makes you feel a certain way or achieve certain for you. I wanted to like achieve that again in the future with a quote unquote music room. But now obviously it's so much bigger than that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's from a room to a studio. Now you have a studio.
Right.
Where you're doing, session work and.
Right. I'm not even playing music right now unless, you consider these rat-a-tat-tats coming out of my mouth here to count as any sort of
lyrical and beautiful.
Syncopation.
There's a melody to it.
Oh, but it's amazing to have this opportunity. It's unprecedented. It's historically unprecedented to be able to leverage this much technology in a single second, all at the same time. Lucky enough. Ask Kissing about this time to be alive. It's a great time to be alive.
That's okay. It's okay. The Republic is dying after all. The Republic is dead.
Back to a sitcom length. We'll talk about the length of the United States after we talk about sitcom length.
Yeah, sitcom length. It's I like Curb Your Enthusiasm is on the air again right now, and that's one of my favorite sitcoms, and he does a half hour.
Doesn't it feel a little long to you?
Sometimes it does. But I mean, it depends.
hate to say it. I hate to say it. I love that show. I fucking love that show.
Sometimes
it has nothing to do with the show.
I feel like you could maybe trim some something, you know?
We're trained. We're trained for certain things. That 22-minute sitcom, very prevalent now, especially now that it actually takes 22 minutes. Back in the day, 15 years ago, you watched it, you actually had to watch the commercials. So it was half an hour for all intents and purposes. Right. Now, if you're binging shit on Netflix, it is 22 minutes.
22 minutes. It's amazing how many episodes of The Office you can get through in an hour, and you're like, holy shit.
You can do 3.
You know,
basically.
Three, and then you're like hitting the fourth one, you know, you're like, wow. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Skip the credits. Play 2 minutes of each one at 1.5 speed.
You're right. It's just boom, 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 boom. You're like, whoa! I just watched half a season of The Office tonight. You know?
You can squeeze that in super easy.
Yeah. But yeah, no. I think it's. I think the sitcom length. That's an interesting point you made of them shortening it up. But it's not that I feel like it's too long. It's just like, you know, it's like you could, you know, there's you know, there's some stuff.
Yeah.
There's some stuff.
I actually would do. You mentioned sitcom length, 22 minutes. You mentioned Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is half an hour. I would do like a 30-minute season of something that was like, you know, 5-6 minute episodes of something, 6 5-minute episodes of something. So it's fulfilling your 5-minute arc. Overall, it ends up being like one good sitcom or one Curb Your Enthusiasm type.
A full thing, right? And then that could be an arc. I don't know why I didn't think of this earlier on when we were talking, but if I'm not mistaken, Doctor Who, the original old style Doctor Who, used to be 15-minute like episodes, and it was serialized like that.
I forgot.
And then there'd be one big arc, right? But it'd be 15 minutes, and they would go from like a couple of days, and then it'd be the big thing, right? Totally forgot about all that.
Well, PBS does programming that's like on the quarter hour too, doesn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
So that's just a different way to consume.
Right.
Like it could have gone down that way were it not for, I don't know, the farmers' clocks, or were it not for advertising revenue based on, it's got to be, you know, based on some historical precedent. Some sort of
BBC was different,
bottleneck.
right? Because they had the British Broadcasting Company was owned by...
It's public, and that's why I brought up PBS. They both were able to do things that maybe didn't work as well with advertisement.
Absolutely. Good call. Because long-form documentary series and stuff like that.
Right.
You know, historical dramas that nobody wants to watch anywhere else.
Yeah. So... right now, what sounds attractive to you if you were to work on something? Do you feel like you would enjoy that 5-minute challenge?
I won't even lie. I like the sound of all of them. All of them sound good. All of them have
all the toys.
Door number 1, door number 2, and number 3,
all
right?
The toys.
Like which one? Yeah. I want to play with everything, right? You know, like you know, it's just what do you start with, right? What do you think is the best training tool? You know, to start it out and then
short,
right? Short.
Yeah.
Short.
Short's the answer.
Short, and I think that idea of doing like you know, a 30-minute thing, right? You know, assemble the story for 30 minutes and then pick your 5-minute arcs, right? Pick your 5-minute story, you know what I mean? I think you could probably do a 50-minute one, like 5-10-minute episodes. I think would be cool, right?
You know what I also want to use? Not like necessarily an arc for story, but I heard Mike Myers describe his like wave theory of comedy. In I guess his movies, this has been implemented, like Austin Powers and in Wayne's World. It has to do with his like there's a little joke, then there's a slightly larger joke after that, then there's like a really big joke, and then it's another smaller joke, and then a really small joke, and you kind of like wave up and down in terms of like joke intensity.
Wow.
As a way to kind of keep the laughs going. Because I mean, it makes sense. I've thought about it so much since. You can't just have like, you know, all your hits to start, lull for 45 minutes, another hit. Like you kind of need to go up and down with it. It has to ebb and flow like a lot of things naturally do.
Yes. Man, stories, I mean, that's such a great, I mean, that's why he's Mike Myers.
But writing like waves of jokes, like little wave, big wave.
That's such a difficult, right?
That's
right.
Yeah,
that's
to apply
difficult.
That in 5 minutes, to apply that in a much longer period.
Now, do they write the jokes? Like you'd have to write the scene, and then you'd write the jokes around the scene, right? Like how, you know what I mean? How would they do that? Right?
I think that's kind of how Curb works. Is there's an outline of the story,
right,
and then the jokes kind of fill in here and there.
They talk about that process all the time. I think that's a great process, right? It allows more, but I mean, you have to have supremely funny people to be able to do it like that, right?
You would. That are a very patient group of people that could do 40, 50 takes just to fucking mine through shit.
Yeah.
And to see what comes of it.
What's funny? Or just keep shooting. All right, back again. Try again.
How about that? Would you work on a serial show with me where the goal was to take 50 takes of everything?
Yeah,
do
totally. What I would want though, I'd want though, is another camera watching us take the 50 takes of like the bird's eye, everyone kind of losing their mind after take 45. One guy just fucking loses it and just like.
Well, either Mine for Gold or it's going to be a documentary on a young film crew that ended up murdering each other.
50 takes, right? All right, we're gonna do 50 takes. What was that?
It's going to be called the 50th take. Yeah, he did famously do that.
Right?
Right. Wear people down. Try to wear you down. Eyes Wide Shut has the record for the longest movie shoot.
Really?
It's the number of shoot days, I think, is over 365, which is insane because, sometimes they shoot movies in 50 days.
Yes.
On set.
Right.
The number of on-set days. He did it over the course of like 2 years.
The other side of that, I think it's sometimes incredible how fast they can shoot a thing, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh man, it's this Jurassic Park, shot in whatever. It's like, that's not years of that. No, it's just like, it's 2-3 weeks and then they're not really Jurassic Park, but.
Have you seen some of the film crews they have in Chicago, like that are setting up for Redline, even like the local ABC, NBC like TV shows, Chicago PD, Chicago
I was just gonna
Fire.
say, the Chicago Fire shows, watching them set up. That was the trucks that come out, bam, shut down the street, boom, boom.
All the money that's going into a single episode of that shit.
Incredible.
No offense, that stuff, like
incredible amount of money.
A lot of money. So I don't know. I guess I'm not. It's kind of impressive how people shoot stuff fast, but to me, it's mind blowing that it takes so long or that it's so expensive. That's the thing that always strikes me whenever I see like a film crew. I was recently in Miami. I saw them setting up for the Super Bowl a week ahead of time.
Cool.
The amount of work, the production work that goes into just a fucking 4-hour broadcast, 5-hour broadcast. It's unbelievable. They do have things before and after on TV in Miami, so it's not like they pump it up as much as possible. But the production value, the number of people, the portable cell phone towers from Verizon, the this, the that.
Of course, right? You got to do that now.
Think of having a gigantic crew. That's so much pressure if you're going to be a creator.
Oh man, director. Think about directors. That's why they go with the same guys. That's why they wanted J.J. Abrams again, because he's familiar with. He can handle a giant production like this. People that can deal with huge, like Michael Bay. These guys that like multi-million, 200. I mean, when you have like what is it? $250 million that you're spending on a movie, right? And having somebody in charge of all that, you
$250 billion investment.
You want somebody who knows the fuck they're doing, right? Like
that's a lot to gamble with.
A lot.
Supposedly Kubrick had a pretty small crew, actually, so he could shoot longer, just so it was cheaper.
Yeah, right. That makes sense too. And for that guy, he wants what he wants, right? The people around him had to be probably at a certain level.
He fucking controlled everything anyway. Right. He was like a micromanager to the nth degree. Right. He didn't delegate shit. That's why it took so long, and that's why it's cohesive.
Why his films are so good, right?
Bingo,
he knew exactly what he wanted. So we should do tight crew. That's what we're.
Come on,
you know what
kidding
I mean?
Me? Jesus.
Cheap, tight crew. Full of dedication.
The pressure in just the work that comes along with managing other personalities, keeping people fed, letting people piss. I have people here to jam. Sometimes there's like 5 or 6 of us, even waiting in line waiting for everyone to finish using the bathroom so you can go
come back again and do it all.
Hit the studio. It's ridiculous just managing a couple people, half dozen people,
right.
Let alone a crew of 50,
60, 70, hundreds.
Football team.
Right. Well, you have, your boom operators, your light guys, you got your sound guys, you got your talent, and then you're trying to make them do a thing, it's like.
I think about that actually because I'm like, we're definitely going to have to have someone holding a shotgun mic, for this sort of thing, which is a dedicated audio person.
Yeah.
Of course, is a dedicated film person.
I mean, lighting is such a key thing to making it look like professional, right? So you're gonna have one of those guys with a giant like white things shining the light because you're gonna have to have the light the right way, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I know this guy who's a gaffer. Actually, I wanna ask him if I can like hire him.
Yeah, right.
By the hour,
how much?
Just to give me tips on how to light this.
He's gonna
space.
look at you. He's like, I'm professional, that, right? Like it's like a lawyer, you could ask a doctor, that's like,
I do that.
Yeah, right.
People are available for service.
Sometimes, right?
No, I was trying to respect him and give him business, whatever. Like,
oh yeah,
I'm
totally being an asshole. That would be. I'm sure he'd be down, right? He'd be like,
it can be insulting to have money thrown at you or whatever, or so he's like,
or not. Well, I'm like,
it's also fucking annoying as hell when people ask artists to work for free.
Absolutely.
Like that happens
all the time.
So often.
I mean, you tattoo artists, all these people that you have a creative thing, you're really good at thing. Well, hey, exposure. It's like, no, dude, this is like what I do. Like
people who
not,
can draw, yeah.
No, but I figure it would be respectful to pay him, like you said. Like that is the respect. Like, hey, I know this is your profession. Like
yeah, to my understanding too, that was his like main thing. Like light. He was a lighting person. It's not like he was even necessarily starting from a different angle. Starting at a different area. You'd want someone who cares about it. That's my mentality.
I have one of my good friends, Dr. Tom. He's a doctor, and he's always like, "Hey, ask me the question." You know, if I never want to ask him about any medicine stuff because it's like that's your job. I don't want to I'm not soliciting free advice. But then he's like, "No, please ask. That's why I do this. I like doing."
People are different that way. Some people eat that shit up. They're
right? He's like, "Ask me, tell me."
And my identity, like this is so important. And the fact that I could be useful for something, that my effort can be justified. Again, tying it back to effort justification.
Oh yeah, he's just a sweet guy who cares. You know what I mean?
Those people are.
That's how you got to get into that.
Good folks.
Doctor, obviously he cares. But hopefully, if you like doing the thing, right? It shouldn't be, there's a difference between helping a friend with a gaffing thing versus like making me a logo for free for my podcast.
Right. No, definitely.
Somebody make us a free logo. No, I'm just kidding. No.
I was thinking about that recently too. Like, I want to do everything alone. Naturally, that's my thing. It's just to do it by myself. But also, I'm like, no, it'd be cool if I also got someone to make a logo.
Help
someone to make a logo or whatever.
Right.
They do have that sort of stuff.
Well, you could give them some mock-ups of what you want, and then they could kind of combine that into. So it's your vision, and then they're.
On a not unrelated note, do you have like a bunch of tigers and snake photos at home that I can borrow?
Yeah,
and I
totally.
Can use as a composite for some sort of collage I may or may not be working on.
Snakes and vipers. I have a lot of pictures of bats at home. Hopefully that could be helpful for you. Black and white pictures of bats.
Actually, no, I realized I should do a panther. So I'll do panther with a bat.
I don't have any panthers.
The black panther.
Okay, yeah.
That would work well. The imagery, the black, the black.
Our spirit animals, a panther and a bat. Right?
Panther is my spirit animal.
No, I see it. I see it. You're like that live.
Can you also transform into like a Dracula type? Like if you have a bat as your spirit animal, is it a vampire bat or is that?
It's just one of those giant freaky fruit bats that are like so big that it's like scary. People are like, "What is that?"
It's one of the ones that like used to live in Australia.
Yes.
It's like a endangered
now,
or maybe
now
even
it's,
extinct.
Now extinct now, but yeah, one of those giant bats. It's completely harmless, just wants to eat fruit, but it's so big that it's terrifying.
Yeah, he can fly like a bird, but like a dodo bird. like
a dodo.
The man's a bat, but he's like one of those weird. What'd you say, fruit bats?
Yeah,
what kind of
fruit. Isn't it like a fruit bat? Isn't that what it is?
No
I think
clue.
I have like there's a giant bat in my head. I'm visualizing it, and it's got that crazy face, and people are like, "Holy shit!" And it's a giant fruit bat.
Bats. I have very little experience with bats outside of catching with a fishing net once in Wisconsin.
Except for eating one and getting the coronavirus. Oh, excuse me.
That didn't happen to me. That was our other cousin,
Andy.
Crazy bat Andy.
Crazy bat Andy Smith.
Crazy old bat Andy.
That's great.
But back to the sitcom, back to the length.
Yeah. And then okay, there you go, sitcom. What would you want it to be? We talk serial, but would it be a comedy? Would it be like something serious? Would it be like fucking some crazy? Or would you try to do like a sci-fi route?
I'll say Soprano style, where it's not. I think originally intended on being a comedy, but it's actually the best comedy on TV. That's the way I feel. I think when it's like masked in drama, same thing for something like Breaking Bad.
You're gonna make me watch Sopranos again, by the way. I'll just talk about it. I've been wanting to, and then
I'm telling you.
I'll just do it.
If you stay for dinner, you might be catching an episode of it. Yeah. No, but I think I want it to not just automatically be a comedy.
Yeah.
Like it's not just.
It's funny though. You know what I mean? Like
I want it to have funny moments, right? Yeah. I also just think that if I was gonna do a story thing, that doesn't instantly scream comedy. Like comedies don't always have the best stories. Not that they can't. Maybe I'm being simple.
Right. No. You're absolutely. But Austin Powers, right? As a comedy.
It's like it might be easier to pursue something more dramatic or thrilling. It just might be easier for me as a beginning storyteller.
Yeah.
In that way.
I think you're right. Sprinkle the funny in. When you feel it's a funny moment, it's funny, right? You don't have to. So you can make a situation that you know what I'm saying, like
that's when I appreciate humor the most. Right. Is when I'm in my darkest days. When I'm having a rough time, that's when stuff can be profoundly funny. That's when it can like flip the way you feel in your stomach.
Absolutely.
To go from seeing something as a tragedy to seeing the funny part in the tragedy.
Joker had several moments like that.
Oh, did it?
Where you're like, oh fuck, and then something happens, and I laugh in movies. I like a laugh, and I always laugh before other people, and I think it's like I hate it because I'm always laughing, and then I feel people catch up or something. So there's a few moments in Joker where I bust out laughing, and I expect people, and there's nobody laughing but me. And
I'm
I was
sure
like,
you're on the front lines of that sort of thing.
Well,
Todd Phillips, come on, I believe there's some fucking punchlines in that thing.
Oh man, there's this great scene where it's like, he's getting real serious with these cops, and he's telling them to like fuck off. He's like, no, how could you, I'm sick up there, or I don't want to rip. But then turns around, he's all serious, and he just like slams his face into a door, and like it was such like a comedy pratfall moment, and I just burst out laughing. But it was like like you said, the seriousness of the situation, and then it was,
Well, I guess that's what laughing is from, is to relieve tension. It's a signal that everything's okay, quote unquote. Right. Like if you'd be like really tense, like if a animal is about to jump out at you and you're hunter-gatherer tribe, all of a sudden it doesn't happen. Oh, that's not an animal. That's just a bush over there. That's just a bunch of plants.
Look at how silly I'm being, right?
Then you start laughing. The rest of the tribe starts laughing.
And then the panther comes out from above and kills you.
Dude, I'm not telling everyone your bat secrets. Your bat ins.
Bat ins.
No, not like your arms are bad.
My bat wings that they have like claws,
the
right?
different ends that you have on a situation because you're back to the fact that you can fly. The fact that you have radar.
Echolocation, baby.
Yeah, I'm not bringing. See, you're saying it, not me. I didn't bring up the echolocation.
Giving all the secrets.
You spoiled the panther
secrets.
and the echolocation. But that's what a panther would do, is come up with a 20-minute drama that's really secretly a comedy.
No, I think that's perfect. Isn't what is that? That's Succession on HBO. It's a comedy, but they play it like a drama, right?
I did just watch a few episodes of that, and I never start shows, as I was saying earlier. For some reason, that one caught me. It's fucking hilarious.
I haven't seen it yet, but I was listening to it on I think NPR.
It's
and
a great example of that. Yeah,
but it's shot serious, but the whole thing is a fucking comedy, right?
I also think I want to do that just because I'm like intimidated by intentionally trying to be funny. Or trying to have that like goofy funny.
Yeah, like again, silly funny, absurdist funny.
There's different funny, right?
Funny for funny's sake, right? Like there's a difference when you're looking at a situation, it's funny. Or a Curb Your Enthusiasm where he plans out a situation and, you know what I mean? It's specifically made to be funny, right? That's tough. That's tough. It's consistently funny. Like you're saying, like you could do a couple of good jokes in and out, but like to be consistently funny for like a 20-minute, 30-minute thing, like by yourself, right? Like when you have a team of writers like The Simpsons, when they have 15 guys all writing jokes, it's like, it's much easier, right?
Oh, well, lots of people to bounce ideas off of. I wonder if you could do the Mike Myers like wave theory of comedy for like a drama. Like if The Sopranos ends up following like a similar thing, you could have little jokes, big jokes.
I'm sure there's episodes that have specific like that, like arc points, I mean, there's like the hero's journey, obviously, where you know that the beats of the story for like, but I'm sure for Sopranos, any show that they're like, okay, well, this episode, we're going to do it like, the rising action, right? Isn't that?
They specifically make the Sopranos, each one is a mini movie.
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of popularized, I feel like, the format in a lot of ways. As that 50-minute chunk, went on to become Mad Men and Breaking Bad, all these other shows.
Yeah. Mad Men did that shit so well.
Succession.
Too. Yeah, Mad Men did that so well. And what I thought about it, I love Mad Men, but it was so interesting because there wasn't generally like a big arc to the season. You didn't, or at least you couldn't feel it, because it was just life. People were just living their life, right? And things would happen. So it wasn't like you knew that, this is the season that they'll flip the agency and Don will do that. You just saw these events taking place, right?
My favorite description of Mad Men, I heard from Matthew Weiner, was saying that in every other show on TV, at the beginning of the episode, two people meet, they hit it off at a bar, they dance together, and then maybe the guy loses her number and tracks her down the whole rest of the episode. In Mad Men, the two people hit it off, dance together, the guy loses her number, and then never sees her again. The other 50 minutes of the episode is just that pang.
Yeah. Shit, dude. Totally, right? Totally. That's
and I'm laughing because, like, you gotta go low to go high.
Yeah.
You gotta laugh.
Man, that's so much of that show, though. It's just them, just like, the way I just described it was beautiful people in beautiful rooms sing beautiful words, right? That's all it is. Right?
Yeah, that's great too.
That's all it is.
That's
right?
great too. Yeah,
they're all beautiful. Everything is the sets are meticulously designed to be beautiful. The words are constructed specifically to like, the scripts are very great.
Yeah, the whole show has a veneer. Just a beautiful veneer on the entire show.
Well, it's right. It's not the idea, right? The air and everything, but
making things seem golden.
Right.
Golden in the 60s. I can't see myself doing a period piece.
No.
I don't think that's.
You don't want to do like
happening.
a fantasy like sword and sorcery type shit.
I would definitely not do that.
Don't have the budget for that.
Unless I get some movie to get, maybe I could do the Dungeons and Dragons movie or something. If you want to throw me some movie money, some real cash, we can talk.
Could somebody pay us to make a giant fantasy epic?
I'll do anything to do a giant fantasy epic.
When they see the podcast, you guys, we love your ideas for this drama comic, but we really think it's a fantasy epic for you. Here's $250 million.
we want you to shoot it in one take with 3 cameras in your garage.
We love your 50 take idea.
Yeah. Oh, we should do the 50 take.
50 take right there.
I don't know. That's 250 mil divided by 50. It's $50 a shot or 50 million
A shot,
50,
a take,
50
right?
million a take. But
we could hire like really great people. Each take, we could hire somebody new, some new actors.
Time out. It's not the individual takes. We're gonna shoot the entire movie straight, like I was talking about before, but just 250 times, and we'll just take. I don't know. Would we take the best take out of the 250 takes, or out of the 50 takes? I'm getting caught up on the money.
Yeah,
now.
right.
The best take out of the 50 takes, or would you still then cut up pieces from the 50 versions?
Well, why don't we have so much money? Let's do multiple ideas for it, right? Let's try to just do the best take, and then it's like, well, I think it's better if we take a little bit of that, a little bit of that, a little bit of that, and, you know.
Or, I mean, you bring up the money. I wasn't really thinking about the money. But one thing we could do is we could show the one that's just in one take at a theater, a theater company.
Yeah.
Maybe we can build it as a live act.
An awesome audience participate. Well, like, let's see what they think about it, and if they hate it, well, we'll adjust it, you know.
We can do audience participation.
What is it? Jojo Rabbit, Taika Waititi. He says he does that, like the where he screens the movies again and again and again for people, for audiences, so that he can like find out when they're laughing, and he sits and he listens. So if they're laughing at that part, he knows that that's funny, and if it's not, he'll adjust it. And
what Jojo Rabbit? What the hell?
Taika Waititi. He does Jojo Rabbit. What We Do in the Shadows. He directed Thor Ragnarok.
What We Do in the Shadows is amazing.
Yeah, so he's that New Zealand guy. He's like everywhere. He's
Incredible.
like now becoming out like
Good.
you know.
I got to see the rest of his shit. I didn't. Yeah, someone
super good.
You might have mentioned this to me some other time, and like,
yeah,
got to check him out.
Probably the best. I think Thor Ragnarok is probably one of the better superhero movies. It's probably in, top 3.
No, I agree. If he could switch genres and do a good job as a superhero movie, we could make our fantasy epic. Yes, we could get paid $250 million. Of course, we could.
He did a superhero movie, and then he did Jojo Rabbit, right, which is getting rave reviews. Scarlett Johansson got nominated for Best Picture, Best Adapted Screenplay, right? Like, I
wasn't up on that. I got to check it out.
Yeah, I really want to see that movie. It's basically like what is it? Kid has an imaginary version of Hitler, and it's like he is this young boy who's in like fascist Germany, and it's like he's a fascist, but he doesn't understand quite why. But everyone around him is doing these things, and so he idolizes Hitler because everyone around him idolizes Hitler. So it's like,
talk about a period piece.
Well, that's what I'm saying, right? So, but
trying to get in someone's mind.
But it's very current of our times now, right? Like people being these fascists and the way they think, and you don't really understand why, but everyone around us is doing it, and it's very interesting. But like Taika Waititi plays Hitler. Like they said, the only way we'll do it is if you play Hitler. So he plays it as a comic. It's like, oh, that's creepy as shit. Oh man.
My fuse just blew. Well, actually, stay here. I'm gonna just run in and reset it.
Okay.
And we'll keep recording after that, because the computer's still on and everything.
Wow, so it's still recording us, do you think?
No, it is on our phones. Yeah, so technically we do have audio right now.
Wow, that's creepy though. Your face was just like illuminated by the candle. Really terrified me. Because I felt the light. I saw the light.
I'll be right back.
I saw the light flicker.
I'll be quick.
So I'm just sitting here by myself.
You can try. I mean, we can cut it or not.
I'm right. Like I'm just gonna keep talking.
It's up to you if you want to vamp.
If the phones are on, I guess I'm better because it's kind of creepy in here just by myself in the dark, with the light of the computer and the light of the candle. So we could tell ghost stories. Oh, and everything's back on. We're back. Whew. All right, I wasn't scared for that long, thank God. But now that I'm without my partner in crime, I don't really know what to do with myself.
That's what we get for kissing technology's ass all this time.
Constantly, right? We're like, oh, technology, look at how great we have it. And it's just like, yeah, fuck you guys.
Yeah, you don't have it so great.
Man.
You don't have it so perfect after all. Things aren't easy all the time.
How much did we get? How much was that? That was probably like 45 minutes though, right?
Yeah, let's keep going. We'll keep going. We haven't even stopped, technically.
Technically, we're still going. Maybe this would be an extendo episode,
because it's gonna be like real funny. That was hilarious.
We seem a little different. Yeah, and like other lights are off.
Right.
I can't turn them all on.
No.
It's okay. We'll just forge ahead. Who's even still listening at this point?
Yeah, right. Well, dead air.
Who's even still on?
Everyone
this point in the night?
canceled, right? It's just for us.
We've gone more than a sitcom.
Right. Well, more than the sitcom. When it's just two assholes talking, you could do that for hours and days, right?
Yeah, two assholes can really toot to each other back and forth.
Toot, 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 boop, boop, toot.
Two assholes tooting. Catch us Tuesdays at 9 on NBC.
Two assholes tooting. That's the name of the sitcom.
So I got the sniffles running outside, running inside. It's snowing out there.
Is it bad? Serious snow?
No, we're good. Okay. We're good. You can't see anything. Visibility's low. There's bonfires. People throwing Molotov cocktails. But besides that, things seem fine. Things seem totally fine.
I told you, Death of the Republic. So
yes. Speaking of fascism, you were talking about
so Jojo Rabbit fascism. There you go. But yes, it was he's a very interesting guy, and like he doing that constant like having people watch his stuff to edit it. You know what I mean? It allows him to like see what the audience likes, right? Like there's something to be said for like Kubrick who does it for himself, so to speak. But
I don't know how I feel about screenings. Are you into screenings yourself?
I didn't think so, but then I listened to him talk about it, and then I was like, well, that doesn't make a lot of sense. You're not making it for yourself, you're making it for a giant audience of people.
Depends.
And
it depends. Some good art is made just by trying to satisfy what you're interested in.
Sure.
What you feel like is lacking.
Right. It all depends on what kind of artist you are. Are you making things for the masses, or are you making things to be an auteur, right? Like that you want specifically
to follow a specific vision, or some combination of both, which is most things.
Yes. Yeah.
Nothing's ever purely fundamental.
But it's always nice to get people like, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of this?
Well, we kind of do that with the podcast, and that's basically how they started getting uploaded. Like, so you could
show some people, hey, what do you guys think?
Or even play it yourself. Screen it for yourself. My God, at least that. Make it easy. Do some cut of it so you can start to get feedback. Try to see what direction you're going in.
Right.
And I would want to do the same thing if I shot something serial.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely not at the very beginning, because I feel like you don't want someone to step on your babies, to like step on your seedlings.
Well, that's shit. Well, it's like, I know that shit, but that's not what I want you to look at, right?
It's supposed to be shit. You don't get it until episode 3. Just wait. It's where I'm intentionally being shitty. It's what we're doing.
Man, that sounds, man, I think we,
Well, okay, time out though. We don't have like a budget for like a whole audience to like, to get a whole crew in. If you were going to screen something you worked on, what do you think your test group, your test audience would be? How many people? Who would you pick?
We could do like a family showing, which would be really weird.
That's what the podcast has been, basically, like a family affair.
A family affair, But that's what you know what I mean? But I'm sure you could set something up fairly cheap, or like, see, it's hard. It's hard, right? I'm trying to think.
You want to make an event. You want to like...
Right, but even still, like even an event, you got to put money into it, like a screening.
No,
right?
and especially if it's like an unfinished product. It's just...
It's not like, hey,
too risky.
Here's a YouTube link to watch my... It's like not the same feeling,
Yeah. I would also like to get group input and also just try to emulate like a writer's room. Like that'd be fun. To hold like a writer session.
Absolutely. What do you guys feel? How do you guys feel about this? Like get a bunch of creative people to talk about what you guys think should be the vision of the show. And it's like, I like this, like this. But yeah, you got to go into that knowing like there's a head writer and then there's you know what I'm saying? Like this is a collaborative product, but hey, sometimes I might think your thing is shit and it's just shit and that's it, right? When you have a thing like that, there's got to be somebody that's weeding out the bad stuff, right?
Weeding out the bad stuff is not afraid to not hurt people's feelings, but doesn't have to be like,
like it is.
Every idea is amazing. Yeah. If you're trying to actually create something that's good, that's specifically good, that's not just a combination of everyone's ideas who were invited.
Right. Oh,
just where I think it would be tough.
Effort. No, it's like, sorry, you didn't really come up with anything good there. You had a great character name, so we're going to take that from you. But you know what I mean? It's like, that's a very tough gig.
I think so. Yeah, I think it'd be very difficult.
The writing part.
The writing, but also the people management, managing people's hurt feelings or...
That's why I like your lone wolf philosophy. There's no hurt feelings in that,
Well, it's certainly...
Your lone panther philosophy.
No, the panther's putting people in his pack. I'm talking about test screenings, man, for God's sake. I'm talking about writers' rooms. Come on, I'm changing. I'm changing.
You're developing. I like it.
But no, I think you just have to be ready to shoot some people straight, and I think it would be helpful if you understood the people that you were working with enough to be able to shoot them straight.
Right.
Because sometimes you work with someone new, you're not quite sure how to deal with them, what to say to them.
Some people you can hit them with a joke about it, and some people you can be like nicely, like, hey, just so you know, like, no offense, but
sending a signal versus literally just spelling out the message.
Yeah.
Been like, yeah, it'd be great. Yeah, right, sure. Being sarcastic once, and then like, oh wait.
We'll put that on the back burner.
Not just being like, yeah, maybe if we never came up with an idea ever again.
Or you just look at him for like 2 beats, and then you just look away and talk to somebody else entirely.
Yeah. I would say, I'm trying to make this thing like a gimmick or like a joke, but having to make it a joke would also be the exhausting part. Do you know what I mean? If you couldn't just be in a normal work environment, it's like, no, let's move on.
Yeah.
Just like,
right.
I don't even have time to joke about this. Like, just let's come up with a better idea. Like, that's not going to do it.
No.
There's a bar. It's not jumping over the bar in my mind.
Could you imagine being like the Saturday Night Live writers' room like that? Like just like I won't say that's it's probably not cutthroat, but it's just like you know what I mean? Like
I think it can be sort of.
I bet. And then trying to get your sketch online, you know,
because it's like people group up and everyone. You want to have I think some sort of atmosphere of competition. I think that can be healthy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know some bands, like the bass player goes in one room, the guitar player goes in another room. It's like, all right, write your part for the verse. Come back in here. Let's see whose we like better. You want some skin in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. What's best? What's best? Competition breeds, excellence, right? Isn't that the idea? So the more competitive you can be about it, So we should throw our hat in this competitive media industry,
So of course, that's what this is about. That's what this whole thing's about. Is crafting the game plan.
Yeah. What's next? The next steps for this.
Oh shit! The serial layout.
Okay, 2 guys just find a bag of money.
Right.
And
cash, right? American
cash.
American money.
Cash.
Right.
American
dollars.
cash. American cash in their neighborhood, obviously.
Not just monopoly money. I just had to be clear about that.
Right.
I'm sorry.
You gotta,
are we talking too much? Is this writer's room? Are we going too many details?
I was just kidding. No, but
bag of money's not a bad way to start. It's intriguing. Everyone wants to see what that money's about to be spent on.
Where are they going to spend the money right away? Who's going to come looking for that money? Nobody just finds a bag of money. Isn't that the old country for No Country for Old Men, right? He finds that bag of money.
Yeah, I think he does, right? And the guy is walking around with a nail gun the rest of the time looking for him.
It was what is it? The cattle. It was like that hole puncher. So it would just like punch a hole through their heads.
Yeah.
Right? So it wouldn't make any noise. It's like a silenced weapon, right?
Yeah, some sort of freaky ass pneumatic nail gun.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. It was a great show. That was a great movie.
So let's start with our own psychologies, our own personalities. If we found a bag of cash and you only had 22 minutes to tell your own story about this bag of cash.
Oh my gosh, right?
Would you spend the cash? Would you invest it and then show the good prudence for the next 22 minutes?
No, I think it'd be like a really anxiety-inducing like 22 minutes. Like we'd cut to like me finding it, and then it'd be like, me like calling some people, be like, what should I do with this? Because I'm not, I'm, like squirreling some of it away, and then people like somebody would be knocking on the door.
One of the people you called to fucking kill you.
You know what I mean? But like, what somebody coming and be like, "Yo, can I get some of that cash?" And then people,
come on.
It would escalate so quickly, and then it would end, me running, being chased by somebody with the fucking, who's trying to get me, because obviously I would keep that money. You know what I mean? I wouldn't just give it to them. I'd be like, how can I keep this? $250,000 or how much it is.
Have there been any good movies on someone winning the lottery?
Oh man, wasn't there one?
There's got to be a bunch.
There's
right?
a couple ones.
Richie
recently.
Rich is kind of like that to a degree because he gets the blank check. Sour Grapes, which is actually written by
Larry David. Yeah,
yeah.
great.
I'm glad you know.
Great. Yeah.
One of the few movies Larry David has worked on.
I think it was his only. This is only. Oh no, clear. What is it?
Clear History.
Yes.
But in Sour Grapes, a friend lends another friend like $10 to bet at a casino.
Yes.
And then that $10 he actually wins the jackpot.
Huge money.
And gets into huge money. And his friend, he just has sour grapes about the whole time.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great.
But we could do something similar where it's like, hey, let's go check out that bag. It's like, no, fuck you, dude. That's probably some like hobo shit in that bag.
Oh man.
And then you pick the money.
Okay, so it's
let's
my
just
bag.
rip off sour grapes.
Right. So it's my money now, right?
Right.
But then
exactly.
you got to have like that external force coming to get the money back, and then it's like, should we give them the money back, or how can we try to save the money? Like what are we gonna do with it? Hire our own crew of guys to fight their crew of guys with the money. That's where it takes a turn.
It turns you into like Walter White in one episode.
Right.
You
Like the 22 minutes, you just all of a sudden you become a kingpin. You use this money to fuel your own empire, and you're just like, I didn't know I could do this. So
Right.
the first, it's like you in like a tank top sitting on your couch, and then the last shot is you like in a Bentley, like smoking, like
Bentley.
Already
made it over to the Bentley dealership.
Oh yeah,
in 22 minutes.
Each minute it's gonna be just like, how much can we cram in 60 seconds to move the story forward?
Yeah, you start the episode, someone's kneeling in like a Catholic church pew. You end it, someone's like firing an AK-47. It's like, wow, that was quite the almost half an hour.
Man, that's cool. Yeah, that'd be a real fast half hour.
No, that'd be hard to make. That's actually I was talking about earlier how it'd be hard to get an arc in 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. That's basically what it's like.
Right.
To do like a series arc in 20 minutes or
Yeah,
an hour.
Movies
can kind of be like that. They're supposed to show that kind of transformation. But
right. It's hard. It's hard to, that's what you want though. You want a character to evolve, right? You don't want, sometimes, it's like they end up at the same spot they did at the beginning, but then it's like, meh, Which sometimes that is the lesson, right?
Right.
But like, you know, most people want to see the rising action, them realizing, fighting the dragon, overcoming the dragon, and coming change at the other side. Right.
It's the hero's journey, not the hero's fever dream.
Not the Hebrews' journey.
the hero's fever dream.
James,
It's kind of like
I didn't
a
even know.
Sally sells seashells type sentence I was trying to say there. One other thing I want to do outside of the amount of time is I talked about doing it in one take. Said that jokingly, but in all seriousness, I actually would love to do a show. It's almost like a live talk show.
1917, baby. One take, one shot.
What's
That new movie, that 1917 that just came out? It's been winning all the awards. It's like there's 3 movies.
You're too topical for me, man.
Parasite. Everybody hates
I could talk Kubrick, but you bring in the movie last few years.
It's up for Academy Award. It's Sam Mendes. It's a movie about World War I, 1917, obviously, and it's like all shot, and it's like it's not one take, but it's one continuous shot that doesn't cut, right? So you follow people. There's like a
sort of like Birdman.
Yes, exactly like Birdman.
I love that shit. And also, I would want mine to be actually one take. Like, it's not perfect, but I almost want it to be like a physical challenge, and I specifically would want to shoot it in like 3 different locations. Like shoot like one part I'm like laying in my bed. It's like that sort of scene. Totally different atmosphere. I mean, I'm sitting in my living room, whatever. Another, maybe I'm in here. It's more of like a
But
staging.
you want to do like one take, right?
But I'd want to like run from one thing to the other,
Yeah.
or like talking to the camera with the camera moving. You know, sort of like a Aaron Sorkin West Wing type walk and talk.
They're so
mixed
good.
with some sort of like, documentary confessional
We
or
could do, like,
reality show confessional.
Making the podcast, right? So it'd be like starting in the bed, blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
be 10 minutes of you just whatever talking, but there's got to be some crisis or something of you in the like that you're hiding. So when you come out and then you don't know that's
Crisis. I would do a whole fucking series where I do fake 10-minute rituals before I start the podcast, where it shows 10 minutes of insanity that I'm not actually doing, but would be hilarious if I did.
And then it cuts out, and then the camera follows you coming in here, and then we just sit, and then it's a whole different. It's like not what we're doing now, but it's like a different version of like
A gussied up version?
Yes, right.
Well, if I'm getting $250 million for this idea, I'll probably, hire a real studio audience.
Knock this fucking thing down and build our own $250 million.
Titanium, concrete.
Kick out those families that live on there. We'll just, the whole thing like we talked about, we'll bust the whole thing out.
Yeah,
oh my
15
gosh.
floors, bribe someone in the permit office.
We can get a library, a film library, so we can like, you know what I mean? Like if we need any
So
inspiration.
I can keep up with all these fucking movies you keep bringing up. I'm going to need a library. You know what I mean? No, 1917.
1917. And then there's Parasite, which is really good. Joker.
I want to see Parasite.
We almost saw it. Knives Out. I want to see Knives Out really bad.
Yeah, that's supposed to be good too. Guy Ritchie?
No, that's The Gentleman. Guy Ritchie did The Gentleman. Yeah, which also looks really good.
Okay.
He also did Aladdin recently, which we found out, which was so funny that like he did the new live action Aladdin.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Again, I was looking at behind the scenes of that. And I was
Were
like,
you really?
I really was. It was just a video that came up.
Not just director's commentaries for
It was
you.
behind, and then I saw like, oh wait, Guy Ritchie's directing this. Again, it was a VFX shot. How they set up this VFX shot and blah blah blah, and like just how the camera angles turning and stuff, whatever.
I think you just earned VFX director of this studio. I'm going to need your expert eye for certain things. For your fashion head, you can
Yeah.
critique those
Production
elements.
design.
Yes.
Mise en scene.
Might need that help.
The Wes Anderson of the production, making sure everything. But you look like you do that yourself.
There's some of that.
Yeah.
Hey James, where can I get some typewriter oil? What kind?
Yeah, right.
What kind you looking for?
There's a couple of different brands. Depends on what you're looking for in a typewriter oil.
Yeah. Matt, thanks for doing another one.
Oh man, this has been a blast. I feel like we could do 2 more. Like just keep going with this. We'll put a pin in this one, and then 2 episodes later we'll come back and keep going.
Oh yeah,
with it.
definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. No, well, one of the things I like most about how we've been shooting these podcasts and doing them so regularly, consistently, is you do get to check in on stuff on different topics.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a way to keep yourself accountable, even. Staking something in time.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is how.
It's funny. It's a video journal. I went back and I watched some stuff, and things come up, and I was like, oh my god, that's where the gestation of that idea came from. Episode 7 or episodes 5 or 6, right? Like, primarily taking Clem to see Star Wars. I talked about it on the podcast.
That's right.
And then I took her to see it, and then I was like, oh my god, watched myself talk about it, and I just thought that was super funny.
Quickly before we end, can you tell me maybe her perspective on the visual effects of Star Wars? Do you feel like it was hitting home in the same way?
It was brilliant for her. You know what I mean? It's like the movies now and the way they work versus like movies. I try to show her some of the older Star Wars. It's just not as like visually crisp, right? I mean, it is. it's funny enough, like that Star Wars A New Hope, they've done so much restoration on it. It does look like a modern film, right? Because so much of that is cleaned up and perfected.
Is that BB-8 in the background there? What the fuck is?
They just, it's so crisp because that's such a popular movie that they've, and ILM being what they are, they're always updating and digitizing and all that stuff. So it looks great, but still the visual effects of like Rise of the Scout are just incredible. You know what I mean? And then when you see the level of detail and like it's always layers, you know, layers.
If it ever gets debated that you are a visual effects master, you just said ILM, Industrial Light and Magic.
Yeah.
You're dropping the acronym
for
George Lucas's
That's who did it. Like that's
VFX
who did it.
firm.
There's a couple other ones actually. There's like on Instagram I follow a couple kind studios that show like makeup and that kind of stuff.
Okay, you need to send me some of these people. We need to start stealing all their best ideas.
It's
if at all
super
possible.
cool. They showed like one of like the Arnold Schwarzenegger from Terminator, like the model of him, and it's him looking at himself. But it's just so accurate now the way they just do these things. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Until the next craziness.
Yeah. Thanks, James.
Yep. Bye.
We didn't even talk impeachment. Man, that was really good.
That's so funny. The juice went out on us.
I know. I really hope that comes out though. Like you can tell, like in me and here, I'm like, well, I'm gonna keep talking because I'm a little scared.